let's not add AI to something that you love doing. Let's figure out the things that you hate doing and then figure out how could AI potentially help in those areas.
Welcome to the / podcast, where we lean into the future of IT by inviting fellow thought leaders, innovators, and problem solvers to slash through its complexity. I'm your host, James Carman, and today we're talking to Kendra Ramirez. Kendra has been building bots since 2018, back when AI still made most business leaders' eyes glaze over. Kendra Ramirez didn't wait for the rest of us to catch up. She's now CEO of KR Digital, co-host of Cincy AI, the Tri-State's largest AI community, and she's given more than 250 talks on AI, which is either evangelism or a very demanding hobby. She's a global Claude ambassador and has spent 15 plus years in tech doing one thing consistently, helping people navigate change before they're ready for it. Kendra, welcome to the /.
Thank you so much, James.
And Cincy AI, so when we say Tri-State, so Kendra and I are from the Cincinnati area, so we have Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana. I've been attending her meetup that she organizes with her co-founder, Helen. It's an awesome meetup, such a great community. Everybody's so helpful. It's that Midwest charm all just bottled up in one room every month. It's so fantastic. So thank you for all the work you do there. Absolutely.
Oh, we appreciate it. It's super fun to be together, and we have such a collaborative community.
Yeah. Everybody's very helpful. I know you do. The cool thing you do is a lot, people who are looking for a job can get up and kind of say, "Hey, here's what I'm into," and it's a networking, it's connecting, it's a great meetup. I love it. I think we're gonna have another show maybe where you and Helen, we might talk about how did that even come to be and how can you do that in your city. I'm looking forward to that one because I think that's really important. So, but today we're here to talk about you. You've been doing AI since 2018. So how did you get into AI way back when?
Yeah. I'm just a technology nerd. I'm constantly beta testing things, pushing all the buttons, and I just fell in love with technology. Growing up, school was hard for me. I don't read and learn from a book. Like I read, I just don't learn from a book. And I've learned that it's really an opportunity to get my hands on something and learn through that process. And so just fell in love with it, started in data center world with technical recruiting and then technical sales, and just continued to evolve. And it was just out of need. We were with our clients at the time, we were with social media, and they're like, hey, we're getting all this inbox stuff. We can't stay on top of it. Could you help? And I'm like, let's figure this out. So I went and looked for some tools, and then we just started adding in more AI tools, and that's where we are today. Like just continue to evolve and listen to client needs and grow with them.
So you're CEO of KR Digital now. KR Digital traditionally that's kind of a digital marketing agency. Is that right?
Yep.
But I think you and a small conglomerate of folks within the organization have kind of spun up this AI enablement helping part of your organization, which is so cool. And you said something, I have to tell it on the pod. I tell this about you every time anybody asks me about Kendra Ramirez. I tell them this little anecdote. You said this at a conference. I think it was at Cloud Nirvana. You gave a talk there and I was listening to it. You said, if companies come to me and they say, hey, Kendra, I want to use AI. I want to be able to automate all the things so I can fire a bunch of people. You were like, I don't work with those companies. I'm not doing that. Tell me a little bit about that. I think that's refreshing and it's awesome. And just tell me more about that.
Well, thank you. And it's literally a no, period. End of sentence. And for me, it's about just integrity. I want to sleep well at night. I don't want that on my shoulders. And if that's the reason they're doing it, I just don't want to be involved with that. And just sometimes there is just lack of education. So making sure that they understand that, hey, we still need humans to do the work. There's so much, subject matter expertise that we need. And just, getting rid of a bunch of people should not be the goal. But yeah, it's very much it's a immediate no. I'm like, you know what? There are thousands of organizations I'd be more than happy to take your money, and I'm not one of them.
There are plenty out there, I'm sure. And I think and the integrity thing is so important to me as well. And what we do here at Liberty, we're the same way, right? We want to be able to put our head down on our pillow at night and sleep. Um, but you would be doing businesses a disservice, because I think what we've seen is all of the companies that have taken that, like, oh, let's optimize here, cut costs here, and all of that. You're going to get okay returns there, right?
Hmm.
But the people who are really leveraging AI and seeing, just skyrocketing in productivity and new revenue and those sort of things are where you're rethinking processes, right? I mean, I think that's got to be the model for this agency work. If people are to do it with AI, you got to start there, right? And I think, has that been your experience where you're helping people the best?
100%. So the organizations that come and say, "Hey, we just want to navigate AI. We want to be able to bring efficiencies and help our team members that are overwhelmed." I'm like, "I'm all in. Like, let's do that. Let's help your team. Let's get you to the mission and goals that you have in your organization." And so being able to literally walk them through, like, from a strategy and training, and then the workflow pieces where we're setting down with the humans. We're very human centered in our approach, and asking, like, what about your role that you love to do? Because let's not add AI to that. Maybe AI could do it, but let's not add AI to something that you love doing. Let's figure out the things that you hate doing, and then figure out how could AI potentially help in those areas.
I love that. And I think you don't really talk to a lot of people that are like, yeah, my job, it's okay, but I just have so much time on my hands. It's just, all those little things that we don't like doing, that, that toil, if you will.
Yes, it's the
That just,
mental load.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Let's find the things you love to do. Let's keep AI out of that for now. And let's focus on the things you don't like to do. Um, what are those conversations like with your clients as you come into them? Are they, I know everybody's like, well, we need to be doing AI, but how do you kind of coach people through thinking around this as a, this is a day-to-day changer. This is I don't know, a superpower, if you will, right? To
Hmm. Hmm.
really juice your business and
Hmm.
take you to the next level. How do you kind of get them there?
It is. It's such a mindset shift. And I really struggled with that in the beginning of doing this work, because I'm like, it just was so intuitive to me, but
Mm,
I had to understand that, like, I thrive in change and a lot of people don't. And so really meeting them where they are, no matter where they are. On our team, we always, when we're working with individuals, we want the skeptics in the room, because the skeptics are really, really good at poking holes in things, finding bottlenecks, finding reasons why it might not work, and mentoring them with someone who is an AI advocate in their organization, because we need both sides of the fence for it
hmm.
to work very well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
just 100% meeting them where they are, whatever fears, concerns, making sure to guide leadership on the importance of, when they start rolling out AI, the why behind what they're doing. Because
Hmm.
if they just focus on AI and the technical aspects, you're going to leave a whole bunch of people behind. And so to understand, when we're working with them, that if you can speak or type, you can use AI. Like, to get it out of their head that this is not a technical thing. And really, the transformation happens when we focus on the humans. I've said this for many years. AI is not a technical problem, it's a human.
Mm. So true. So true. Are there, there's all kinds of hype and stuff like that. And how are there areas where when people bring it up and they're like, well, let's do this. Let's throw AI at this thing. Are there kind of those like no-go type, automations or workflows that you're like, this, we've done this a bunch of times and it's not the best use case for AI. Are there any of those, or are there any that's like, we immediately look for this sort of thing that can help, those kind of quick wins or quick losses, if you will?
Right, right. Oh goodness, there's so many. Like, it's what's interesting, if everyone wants to boil the ocean first, they want to do
Mm,
some big hairy AI project. And I'm like, time out. Let's work internally, where if we fall on our face, we do it internally. We don't want to do it with a public facing client. Um, let's look at more of the productivity pieces within our own organization, and be able to look at different aspects. of where could we gain some efficiencies. And the other piece of that is looking at their own current technology stack, right? So we had one potential client, they reached out and they're like, hey, can you come talk to us about working for our accounts receivable team? We're behind on different areas and we want to be able to automate our follow-ups. And so I just asked one question. Well, what system are you using today for accounting? They're like QuickBooks. I'm like, okay, guess what? QuickBooks already has that built in. And and I think it's just because all of us are just, heads down doing the work and we're not looking up to see, does the technology that we're already using either have some AI enablement already there, or have we talked to those vendors about their AI roadmap?
Mm.
Um, so it's making sure that we're really looking at what are we already using, making sure we're not starting with the big hairy things. Let's start with just the day to day of how work gets done. And because what we find is a lot of these processes and workflows of how work gets done have not been touched in 15 or 20 years or however long that individual has been doing that job. And we're snickering because you and I see it both
Mhm.
all day long,
Oh, yeah.
all day long.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, what has your experience been with, you're closer to this than I am, the package tools and the AI, kind of those embedded AI solutions, those chat bots? Like I think HubSpot's got a thing I can ask
Mhm.
questions. I think we use a thing called 90 we're doing EOS, the enterprise operating system,
Yes.
and we use 90. 90 has a new thing built in. You can a little chat bot, you can ask questions. What has been your experience with those? Are they effective? Is it kind of hit or miss? Is it like, oh, these things are just junk? Like what's been your experience there?
Yeah, we've had great success with the stuff that's, built into existing enterprise platforms. Not so much with a one-off, someone built a wrapper on top of something.
Hmm.
So it's really, really important for your listeners to make sure and vet your vendors, right? So when I say current technology stack, I mean your vendors you're already working with, the
Mm-hmm.
systems you already have in place because you already vetted those vendors. They're already integrated in your organization. So really making sure you do a good solid assessment of the work that you're currently doing and when and if you need to consider other tooling outside of that. But yeah, our work really is focused to what I call off the shelf AI, meaning the Microsoft Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, just the core models and what are we currently doing and not so much the custom AI development. There's some fantastic partners like yourself that can do that kind of work.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a lot of mileage from that day to
Mhm.
day stuff that you're doing.
Yep.
But with the off the shelf products, they do a fantastic job. I use it. I just did a bunch of automation the other day with Claude, and I didn't have to write a lick of code. Like it's
Mhm.
actually really nice. It can do some really cool stuff. Now that's running on my laptop, so it's not like
Mhm.
it's an enterprise level thing. But for my personal things I need to get done, it's fantastic. So you mentioned something I thought was really interesting. Um, Reaching out to your vendors, and I
Mhm.
know some companies do that. I think they probably, they might meet with them once a year to hear, or they might see newsletters of here's what's coming up. But I think, in my experience, and we don't use a lot of package solutions. I mean, we have, we like the thing we're using right now, Riverside,
Mhm.
to record this podcast. They have been, it seems, in the past 6 months, features have been coming out more readily. So I think you're going to have a different relationship with your software vendors of, hey, I'd really like to have this feature. It's not a like, oh yeah, sure, get in line. That'll be 3 years.
Right.
It's months now with AI
Mhm.
helping them move faster. So I think that relationship can change. And as you said, be a little more open with them. Ask them, instead of like investing a bunch of money,
Yeah.
maybe they're going to build it into their tool, and you don't have to like bolt something onto the outside. You can maybe,
Mhm.
that they may already be solving that problem for you. So I think, are you experiencing the same thing, that these software vendors seem to be moving more readily now?
Very much so. Perfect example, a client had a particular tool that did not have AI enabled at the time when we were with them. And they were just having a lot of headaches. And we were walking through things. I'm like, well, have you talked to the vendor? And they're like, no. I'm like, well, let's start there, right? Like, why would we go invest a bunch of money in developing something when it may be on the roadmap? Let's go talk to them. And they did. And sure enough, in the next 30 days, some of the things very specific that they were pain points for them is going to be solved in the next 30 days. And so no telling how much I saved money, saved them money in
Yeah.
development because they were going down a path like, this is just ridiculous. It's 17 times the work that we're having to do because there's not a nice natural flow of how things are handed off. And it was a management tool. So yeah, it's just like, talk to your vendors, right? They're happy to share like, hey, this is what we're doing and where we're
Yeah.
going because they don't want to lose you either.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole SaaS apocalypse conversation we can talk about, but
Hmm.
that might be another conversation. But they absolutely want to keep you as a client. And I think we've just gotten trained. Again, I keep saying this: the calculus has changed. A lot. It has changed in
Hmm.
a lot of different ways. But this vendor relationship, absolutely, especially software package vendor relationship, is going to change or has changed because we've been trained to like, yeah. Every time I go to the vendor and say, I'd like this new feature, they're like, yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? But
Hmm.
yeah, see me in 5 years. Literally, that's the answer. It's like, oh, that's 3 years down the road or 5 years, or no, we can't do
Hmm.
that. No way. Those answers, there's more yeses, and the timelines are not as protracted as they used to be. So, uh,
Yeah, and if you've got something happening, I guarantee, other clients of theirs have that same thing happen.
yeah, absolutely. And so, one thing we haven't touched on, and I'm sure you deal with this, and specifically you, because you refuse to work with people who are wanting to eliminate jobs. How do you work with some people in the organizations you're helping with that fear? I mean,
Hmm.
how do you do this with empathy and try to make folks understand that, like, we're not coming after your jobs here. We're trying to
Hmm.
make your day better. How do you coach people through that fear of whatever fears? There's a lot of different
Yes,
fears around AI,
a
but one
lot of
and big
fears.
one is the job loss, right?
Right, right. And that's why it's important for leadership to start with the why they're doing it
Mm,
versus just, hey, we're doing AI. No ifs,
mhm,
ands, or buts. So one of the fun things that we've unlocked on several levels, we've unlocked so much and working with so many different people, is if I do have someone that's very hesitant, very resistant, very fear based, I actually get them to play first in a
mm,
personal standpoint.
nice.
So I'll sit down and ask them like, what's something in your personal world right now that maybe feels a little overwhelming? You don't know where to start, and sometimes I'll help kind of rattle off, some different things like, building a fitness plan. And what the heck do I want for dinner? Right? Like, writing a little kid story with your kid or your grandkid. Like, I'll start just something for fun and get them to just do something fun. So I was with this lady, and I wish I had a video of it. Um, and I asked her that question, and she said, well, my daughter just got engaged. She's getting married down in Louisville. I have no contacts on there. I've never planned a wedding. I'm very overwhelmed by the whole thing. I said, that's perfect example of using AI. So we just sat side by side and I walked her through like how to, prompt it and ask questions. And her whole body shifted, like just how she was literally giddy. She's like, she's looking at me. She goes, "This is AI?" I'm like, "Yes, this is AI." And so sometimes we just have to start and meet people where they are. And
Mhm.
by her playing, got her excited about, okay, now how do we translate that into work? And so that I sat and did the same thing. I said, okay, now we did that really fun thing here, and we showed you how to prompt. We're going to do something like, what's something that is a day-to-day task that you're doing now that drives you crazy? And she's like, oh, I have to pull this report. I always have to do a summary. It has to be emailed over. I'm like, perfect. That's another really great use case. And let's walk through it. And so just being able to connect those dots of personal use to work use. And I mean, she's just like just taken off. Like it's just been really, really fun.
We may have to back up a little bit and explain something to the audience. So, Kendra, you're from the Cincinnati area. The correct way to say Louisville is the way you said it, Louisville, like you're swallowing your tongue,
Yes.
Louisville, right? Now, outside of this area, folks might say Louisville, but when you live here, you say
Louisville.
Louisville. It's all just kind of blends together. So, just in
That's
case
right.
people didn't know, that's
Yep. That's the
Louisville.
appropriate. I did live in Louisville right after college, so
Yeah,
I'm allowed to say
yeah,
it.
that's the right way to say it. Everybody outside of this area says it the wrong way, but you would
Correct.
probably know it if you don't live here as Louisville. But that's not what we call it here. But one thing you said I think is really important, that start with the why, and of course
Hmm.
you go back to Simon Sinek, right? But like companies, they do a really poor job, and we do it too. I mean, you have to make sure people understand what is the motivation behind what you're doing. Why are you doing it? Because if you don't, anytime you leave that kind of communication vacuum, somebody else is going to fill it. And your employees are going to fill it in their own head. And that's
100%.
what leads to that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And they're usually not flattering. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're just trying to take my job. It's always going to be
Yes,
the boogeyman type of thing.
absolutely.
So yeah, I think that's super important. Make sure you're sharing with people what you're trying to do here. What is the vision here? How do you envision this helping the company move forward and making everybody's lives better, right? Not just my wallet as a leader or owner of a company. All right. So you're working with these companies, and a lot of people are definitely, interested in making their businesses better using AI. But I know, like, I mean, you look on like Twitter and even, or I'm sorry, X, and even Instagram. I mean, all the platforms now. There's just AI in your face everywhere. Are people starting to get into? You hear this notion of fatigue. Everything's fatigue, right? Is AI fatigue setting in with some of these folks? Are they just like, I don't know, there's just so much mumbo jumbo out there. Like, what is your experience with people? How are they dealing with that, or how are you helping people with that?
Yeah, it's real. And because literally every minute the model is changing or updating or there's something new. And I just experienced this myself. Like I took 10 days off. And I was off grid. I was in Alaska and a lot of times didn't even have a Wi-Fi signal. And, that FOMO, being like, this is what I do for a living. It's really important for me to not miss something. But when I really sat back and watched, I was like, okay, I use the filter of, when I get back and when I get Wi-Fi, using the filter of, is this really truly this new model update, that Anthropic overcame, OpenAI and revenue for the first time, or, all these like little things, like, is it really going to impact me tomorrow? And so I just really encourage all of us to just find a filter, whatever filter that you want to run it through, that you don't have to track everything. It's impossible to track everything. It's impossible to know everything. So just focus in on the models that you're using in your organization, and following, any of their newsletters or their developers, or that's what I do. Like I intentionally follow Anthropic and OpenAI, and Microsoft developers in X of like what's coming, where are things going. And then, of course, I have an AI agent set up to go and scrape information through a certain lens that I have it looking through for SMBs that service and nonprofits. And so it just knows exactly what I need to know to be prepared to prepare them, but through the lens of, does this really going to impact me tomorrow? And if not, toss it, right?
Right.
Like we don't need it.
It's. I was just telling somebody this yesterday. My daily job is knowing about these. It's just like you, right? I mean, we have the same sort of
Yes.
job, and I'm listening to podcasts every day. I'm reading. I'm books and articles and blogs and I'm constantly ingesting information, particularly about AI, other things as well, but particularly AI. And I can't tell you, as much as I'm digging into and ingesting this stuff and trying to stay current, I have conversations. I'm sure I've had one with you where you're like, hey, have you heard about this tool?
Yes.
And I feel like I'm saying no more than not when someone says, hey, have you heard about XYZ? No, I haven't heard about that. I feel like I don't know anything, because anytime someone says, have you heard of, I'm constantly saying no. It's like a wild, wild west. It's the vast ocean, whatever analogy you want to use. There's just too much. And what
A lot of noise.
yeah, there's plenty of that. The tactic I've had to take is like, I kind of have to almost just kind of grab a hold of something and dig in, do deep dives, and to get to understand, because the concepts will translate, right? Once you learn the concepts and you get a feel for how do you use this tool effectively and these sort of things, and do a deep dive, and then just kind of put on your blinders, right? And just say, don't worry about all the other noise that's going on right now. Let me spend some time here. Because if you're, I don't know, I was just trying to come up with an analogy, and this might not be a good one, but bear with me. It's like if you wanted to learn to be a woodworker, and you just you took a piece of wood to Home Depot and you just walked around the store trying to use all the different tools on one piece of wood, and you're not going to learn to be a. Whereas if you
I love that
went to the
analogy.
store,
So
bought a
good.
tool, which I love
Yes.
to, I love to buy tools, and you brought it
Mm-hmm.
home and you used
Mm-hmm.
the tool for a little bit with
Yes.
different pieces of wood, see how it works, and everything. And then maybe you do that every couple of weeks and go to Home Depot and buy a new tool. It'd be great if I could buy a new tool every 2 weeks. Oh, I would love that. But I think that's what people are feeling is this. It's just
Yeah.
overwhelming. There's just
Yeah.
so much. But I think you just have to latch onto something and stick with it for a little bit and just give it some time, because you're going to learn plenty with any tool. You don't have to
Yes.
learn all the tools. So.
No, not at all.
The other part about that you mentioned was there's a lot of noise. And, I feel like, we've talked about this like with children, I feel so bad how they're growing up today as far as like what they're seeing. They live in this Pinterest world, this Instagram world where everybody's putting forth this like mostly false view of themselves. And it's like this false image that's out there. And so you're comparing yourself to all of that and saying, oh my gosh, I don't measure up. I'm not as good as those people. But, those people that have those Pinterest houses that are beautiful and perfect all the time, go there on a Tuesday, when they're not doing a photo shoot, and there's toys all over the floor, just like everybody else, right? We're all human
beings. It should look lived in.
Yeah. They don't live like their Pinterest self. So it's the same with the technologists. I mean, I think, people do know things, and there are people at certain varying levels, but I think people are putting on that Pinterest face, and there's a lot of like making folks feel like they're inadequate because it's like, oh, this person does all these things, and it's the same thing. I think we're experiencing the same thing.
Oh, 100%. And if someone like calls himself a guru or expert, run.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's immediate red flag.
Right. Yeah, because we've been doing this for a few years now. Like most, at large. I wouldn't have called myself a Java guru, and I've been doing it 20, almost 30 years. But like, not in the first 3 years of using Java, I would not have said I'm a guru. Like that's a 10-year level thing where you're like, like that's where you get you can kind of attach that moniker, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't fall in the comparison trap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of you listening, do not fall in the comparison trap. Don't feel like you're behind. Because I love the whole AI bubble chart. It's like 8.1 billion people in the world, but only I think it was like, gosh, I don't know, 15 million of those people actually have paid AI accounts. So like we're not even like, don't even get yourself into the comparison. Like you just have to focus on where you are, where your organization is, and not get caught up in shiny objects, because it's just going to be a massive distraction.
It really is. It really is. It's been very difficult, and to be disciplined in this just crazy world, with research and development, and to get it enablement of yourself, like digging into technology and understanding it. You really just have to focus and ignore all the noise. So very, very difficult. Well, this has been good. This is the main section of our conversation, but we have to move on to our next segment of the show. And this is what we call Ship It or Skip It.
Ship or skip, everybody, we got to tell us if you ship or skip.
The idea here is we bring up a topic, we'll discuss about it. Like, is this something you like? Yeah, ship that. That's awesome. Or skip it. Like, nah, I don't like that. We brought up this a lot with different guests because people have nuanced opinions about this, and it's interesting to hear, especially over time. These opinions change. But vibe coding, it's always a hot topic, and would just love to hear. Are you on board with vibe coding, or are you like, whatever?
Oh, absolutely, 100% on board.
Okay.
I love it. I've always been an ideas person, so being able to now go and build something, from that. But it's just more like storyboarding ideas, putting a minimal viable product together. Like it's definitely not production level, right? But it's enough to be able to hand to, someone like your team, like, hey, I built this thing. I think it's something that's really going to help, with our organization. And I'm sure it helps you all like have a better vision of what exactly is this organization, trying to achieve, with that product or that software. But just being able to iterate and have something visual to show is huge. So it's just super fun to be able to, in those narrow, cases, It's really fun to see.
Yeah, I like the idea of, again, I think I say the exact same thing every time. I don't want to sound gatekeepy. I don't want to sound like, we're guarding these things. There's obviously a time and a place for people who have experience for these things, but I do love the idea of the democratization of this. And I think it's the being able to express yourself and like say like, oh, here's what I envision with a product, right? Like you can do that now. Instead of trying to just use words, you can
Exactly.
kind of build that. Here's kind of the gist of what I'm thinking. Here's the screen. That's more approachable for people now. And I think we'll hear about more ideas now, right? Because it's approachable. Like before, it was like almost daunting. You're like, I got this idea for a business or a product or whatever. And it's like, man, but to do that is like, oh my goodness, this is one of those areas where I think people need to not be fearful of AI, because this is where all those new jobs from AI are going to happen, because
Yes.
all of those ideas are going to come flooding in, right?
Yes.
And there's going to be plenty of things for a lot of people to do, even more so even. So
Yeah, I feel bad for the IT departments right now because they're just getting buried with the, here's 1,000 vibe coded things, and they're just like dumping it in their lap.
yeah, I think I'm ship it on vibe coding from using it what it's for, right? So
Yeah.
as you said, that rapid prototyping and getting ideas and letting your ideas take shape and those sort of things. I think there's a time and a place for that. There's also a time and a place for agentic engineering, where there's a little more rigor and a little more methodology to it. And again, there's a place for everything there. I think we can live with all of that. All right. What about, we brought it up during the conversation, the SaaS apocalypse. Is there anything, I mean, you're helping people use off the shelf products better with AI. What has been your experience? What are you seeing that with this whole SaaS apocalypse thing? Is SaaS dead, or is this just all mumbo jumbo? What do you think?
Well, it's it's funny because it's happening right now on X. There's a group out there, and there's like, oh, we're totally canceled. Our Salesforce is a $600,000 contract because we vibe coded a CRM. I'm like, really? Like,
Did you know? Did you know? Really?
did you? Because I don't think so. I don't think
Benioff's
so.
like, that's cute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Because again, you can definitely vibe code a CRM, but literally when you're going in, to a production level, and then now you've got the security issues, but then also just the maintenance. So now you've got someone that's vibe coding something, but they don't know how to secure it. They don't know how to actually get it to a production level. There's massive concern there, unless they have a partner like Liberty, right? So being able to do that, but so again, I think it just dovetails back into our conversation about vibe coding, right? Understanding its place. Vibe coding is not a production level, platform, and so just really understanding those limitations. But I do think we will see some of those narrow use cases, because using Salesforce as an example, Salesforce is like a Cadillac, right? It's got 1,000 bells and whistles, and most organizations probably only use 10% of it. So going and vibe coding a 10% little narrow CRM for something very specific, but then working with an expert to finish it out. That's the part that people don't understand. And the maintenance that needs the requirement of being able to maintain that is huge. Because again, the person that vibe coded it, really, they don't know how to carry that out. They don't know how to maintain it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the SaaS apocalypse is a little overplayed. The idea is overplayed. I think there's a band within the market where you're going to see a lot of this, as the smaller players that are having to buy the Cadillacs when they need an Accord.
Yes,
They're
exactly.
not. They're going to want. Let me just build an Accord, and they can afford to do that now. Whereas in the past, the Accord might have cost them $3 million to build it. Now it only costs them 100,000 or whatever. What it was make up numbers, but it's more approachable. I think the enterprises are doing what the enterprises always do, and they do the pendulum swing thing. They're like, oh, let's just fire all of our vendors, and we can do this. But there's a reason you hired those vendors in the first place, those software vendors, because you have a core business that you want to focus on and differentiate yourself. But now, okay, even though it might be easier to get that Pareto principle 80/20 version
Mm-hmm.
of Salesforce or HubSpot or whatever the heck it may be. Yes. But now you got to maintain it, as you said. And
Mm-hmm.
even though you
Yep.
know how to maintain, some enterprises are really good at maintaining and building software, but those investments that you're spending and pouring into this other thing could be better suited differentiating you and making your core business better. I think we need to figure it out. I think there may
Mm-hmm.
be a little bit of a erosion of the price point on some of these enterprise packages because of that to make it make sense again for them. I don't know. But I think we'll have to wait to see how this thing settles out when it comes to the SaaS apocalypse. I think the enterprise vendors, software vendors, will be fine. They're likely going to have a bit of a revenue erosion, but I think things will settle back in and things will be okay. Now, IBM took a big,
Mm-hmm.
shot on the chin. Was it last week? Their stock dropped like a
Mm-hmm.
ton because both their services and their software solutions aren't looking as bright and shiny for everyone. But we'll see. I mean, IBM's going to be just fine. They've
Yes,
been around
exactly.
100 years.
Oh,
They've been
I'm
on another
fine. Yeah.
100 and 200 years. They'll be fine.
Right.
Okay. Well, that dead horse is now adequately beaten. Let's look at this notion of token optimization. This has been somewhat of a big topic. Where
Mm-hmm.
are you seeing that? Because I know we see it. So from our world is more on the tokens we use would be code generation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
software
Mm-hmm.
engineering. Whereas on the folks you work with are more using tokens for business
Mm-hmm.
processes and stuff like that. Not necessarily
Right.
chatbots, but maybe agentic type things with
Yes.
using tokens. Are the folks you work with, are they hitting those token limits? Are they having to start thinking about, oh, wait a minute, we need to back off here?
Mm-hmm.
Are you seeing the same thing on that side?
Oh, for sure, for sure. And it's so funny. I'm literally laughing because, you know, in the early days, giving air quotes here and I mean like March.
In the days of March
Back in my
2026.
day. I had teams and, AI leaders, telling their teams like, go for it. Like, we don't want to hold you back and, all the things. And those same clients are, and cause I'm looking at them when they're standing in front of the room saying these things going, oh, please
Oh,
don't say that. Like, don't
mm-hmm.
say that. Don't say that. Um, and then now, they're kind of coming back like, hey, can you come back in and kind of show us how to make sure and be more mindful of token management? So I'm like, yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really just being really mindful. And I do this naturally. Like I always plan something and plan it in maybe one of the higher models, and then execute it in a lower model, right? So let's just take Claude for example. So I'll go and use Opus. Like let's plan this thing, and then I'll just execute it through Sonnet,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that a cheaper model.
Mm-hmm.
And then also teaching, teams to do that planning first and do the planning in just regular chat. You don't have to always do it in the other models. And that was something that we found like a lot of teams, because there were a lot of teams, especially enterprise wide Claude. They were so fired up about co-work. They were pushing co-work, pushing co-work. And again, back to tokens, we're like, ooh, like we just spent $4,000, this month in token management, or tokens for co-work in one department. That's not good, right? And so what we found were, because they were doing such a big push on co-work, that they just would start in co-work instead of just starting in chat. And really and truly, 90% of day-to-day productivity type work can be done in just regular chat. So just being mindful of what models you're using, being mindful of doing the planning, and anytime in your doing, the back and forth, refining and reiterating, like being able to go back to your original prompt and edit that original prompt versus the iteration.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you have that long context window, just say, next time I want to run this scenario, what's a better way to prompt this scenario moving forward? So
Nice.
that way you're using the AI to learn, like, well, why did we have to go back and forth, back and forth? Because again, it always comes down to prompting. So their original prompt wasn't very good. And so that's why they had to go back and forth, back and forth. So just teaching all these like little things of like So let's do it better next time, or let's plan first. So usually like I'll give context and then I'll tell the AI, like, let's plan first before building this. And then I can go, back and forth and then go into build mode. So some of those little things like make big, big differences.
Yeah. The models, kind of those, and I noticed you didn't say Fable because that's just crazy. It's
Right.
awesome, but my
It is
goodness,
awesome, yeah.
the cost is, man.
Yes.
So when you stick to the three main levels of the models, they do a pretty good job of like, the haiku. I don't feel like I'm reaching for a haiku very often.
No,
They're like,
no.
just use this when it's like, your idiot brother, or something. I don't know.
Daryl.
Yeah, Daryl. They should have just named it Daryl.
No offense to Daryl's listening. No offense.
My other brother, Daryl.
Exactly.
If anybody gets that reference, I'm going to be impressed. You may, I don't know, but but I don't. There are very few of my, because I use a lot of like scheduled tasks in Claude, for instance. And you can pick the model that it uses for that. There's like only like 2 of them that I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. Just use haiku for this.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job of at least getting you up to the sonnet level, right? Maybe not everything has to be opus, but I mean, most often I'm picking that sonnet. Like I rarely dip to the haiku level, but then again, I'm also not, when I'm in the flow of working, I'm not very conscious about, let's flip, let's go to another thing and let's do this. I don't know. It's going to be tough. There's got to be a better way. I have noticed, and I think we talked about this during the prep call. On the Claude Code side, I use, I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but on Claude Code, I use a Superpowers plugin from the Anthropic marketplace or whatever. Anyway, it's about doing spec-driven development, roughly. That's kind of the gist of what it's doing. But it does a pretty good job of auto picking, and it'll say, "Oh, I need to do, I've written out this specification for this code, and here's the plan for this code. Yeah, it's not real complicated. I have it pretty well spelled out. Let's use Sonnet for that, and then let it go write that code. But then when I want to do the security review, now that's an Opus level thing, and then this, and it does a great job of auto switching. I think that's what we need in the general Claude.
100%. When you mentioned that, I was like, why is that in just regular Claude? Like, why? It's smart enough to self-select.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's got to be at that planning phase where when it's making a plan to go do a thing, it plans it out and it says, okay, this step 1, that's a sonnet thing. Step 2 is a haiku thing. Step 2, it's got to do it at that level. You don't want it to do it in line.
Agreed.
But most of those plans you can do that. It has a pretty good idea of what the level of like rigor that is needed for each one of those tasks. So I'd love to see that start to make its way more into the mainstream. And honestly, it would benefit Anthropic too, because they're getting constrained on compute. Yeah. So if we can offload some of that and make these smaller models used more often to offload those tokens. Now, granted, they make money on tokens, but they're also they could probably serve more clients. There's got to be some curve there that the economists can figure out. I guarantee there's something there. I am not an economist. That seems like it just has to happen. But yeah, I don't like the idea of having to consciously do it. And I know to be disciplined, you should think about things at that level. But I feel like a good tool should kind of do that for me. Anyway.
Great.
So I'm kind of on I'm ship it on token optimization from a general principle. But the thing and I say this, I think every time I talk about this, the thing I worry about, because I've been in this industry long enough, is like, what was it? A couple months ago, we were talking about token maxing, and everybody was bragging about how many tokens they were using. And then that was very short-lived. It was pretty funny. It was like, oh yeah, look at all these tokens I'm using. And then somebody got hit with a bill like at the end of that month. And then it was like, oh, that token maxing thing's stupid. Yeah, it's stupid. But our industry tends to do these like pendulum swings from all the way over here to like token maxing. I'm using 5 billion tokens per second to like, I used 1 token all week and got my job done. Like, I don't want to go to that extreme. Like, that's just nuts. Like, you're going to lose all utility. And I think we need hopefully settle very quickly. And, let's do some balance. Imagine that, tech industry. Do a little bit of balance. Let's strive for that. It's
good to have goals.
Yeah, exactly. We don't tend to reach for that balance stuff very quickly, very often. All right. So we've been through our main segment. We've gone through the ship it or skip it, and our final segment of the show. This is our lightning round.
It's time for the lightning round. Rapid fire, don't slow down. Answer quick and make it count. In this game, there's no way out. It's time for the lightning round.
And I don't know if you've listened to us very much or not. Of course, everyone does, I know, but this is the real important part of the show, right? We've got our warm up in. You've settled. Your nerves are gone. You're not nervous anymore, and you're fine. But now this is where it really starts to make or break this episode. This is where people could be like, that Kendra was my favorite, or she was just the worst, right? Like I want to let you know this is really rubber meets the road, whatever you want to use there. The answers do count. They will be graded and scored. We'll share that with you offline later. I think it's about 3 months now because we use Haiku for our grading, so it takes forever. Yeah, and it's wrong most of the time.
Of course it is.
It's okay. We don't really use the score for anything, but you can feel free to put it on your LinkedIn, however you want to do that. Are you ready? Have you prepared yourself mentally?
I'm as ready as we're going to be.
Okay. All right. Well, that's better than most other guests, because honestly, this is a really scary thing. What was the last Halloween costume you wore?
Ooh, last Halloween costume. Dang, James, I didn't know what I did 2 days ago, literally that long ago. Oh, man. The only thing that comes to mind, and this is hilarious, is a group of my friends and my husband went to an adult Halloween gathering and just, fun times. And we collectively decided to make my husband a pimp, and the rest of us were his posse.
Yeah, his product.
Yes, his product. Oh, gosh. I mean, that was, about 10, 15 years ago. I mean, it was quite a long time ago. But it was super fun.
Yeah. I find that, adults, we don't get to have that fun very often with Halloween. Especially when you have kids, you're more focused on getting them in their costumes and all that stuff. Yeah. And, but that's always a fun little question for folks. What sound would you make if you were freezing cold?
My teeth would chatter. Like,
okay. All right. Yep. That's good. We like the audio. This is an audio podcast, so that was perfect. That was perfect. Do you have any friends who are taller than 6'4"?
No.
That's a good answer. Favorite type of muffin? What are you reaching for on the old muffin shelf usually?
Ooh, blueberry.
Blueberry? Solid answer. I don't know the right answers. I just like to give my own little 2 cents every now and then.
I love it.
This one's interesting for some folks. People sometimes think very deeply about this. Sometimes people are like, "What are you talking about? Why am I even here?" How many times did you sneeze in the past 7 days?
A handful, maybe 5.
5? I mean, it's summertime. Maybe there's some allergy action going on. Whatever, Name one of the 7 dwarves.
Grumpy.
So it's kind of a psychological thing. What do you gravitate towards? It's like a Rorschach kind of thing.
No, it's like, oh gosh.
I didn't write these questions. Someone else. We have a whole team of experts dedicated to coming up with these questions. This one's good. We've asked a lot of people this question for months now. Do you like the smell of gasoline?
I do. Yeah. I don't know why, but yeah.
Yeah. Most people are surprised at their own answer, and most of the answers are yes. A lot of people will a lot of people will associate it like, oh, we'd go to the cabin on, in the winter, and my dad would stop to fill up gas at the bottom of the mountain, blah, blah, whatever. There would always be some story. But that's usually what it reminds them of something. They're like, hey, we would go out on the jet skis and fill up at the dock or something.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, most people say yes. I think we've only had a handful of people that are like, no, absolutely. Yeah. It's usually yes. So I don't know if that's the right answer, but that's what a lot of people say.
Interesting.
If you're able to get a superpower, if you had to choose between invisibility or super strength, what are you going with?
Oh, invisible for sure. You know how many rooms I would love to sit in and listen?
Mm-hmm. You could do, you could probably get some stock market action by doing that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sit in on some boardrooms or something.
Exactly.
I'd be afraid I'd like cough or something, or hiccup or, something and get the hiccups while I'm in the room. And they're like, what is that? What's going on here? This one always is an interesting question for folks. Why can't we tickle ourselves?
And how are we supposed to answer that?
Do you know why we're not able to tickle ourselves? Or
I don't.
Some people argue it and say,
no,
I can absolutely tickle myself.
No,
Some people,
no, I have no idea. I have no idea.
I looked it up. There's something about because you're doing it, your brain knows, so it almost like deadens the sensory input from that part of your body on purpose. Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're here for on the /. Are you able to say anything in an Asian language?
No.
No. Well, that's perfect. That's French. That's more non, but it's fine. It's close enough.
Right.
Favorite carnival food?
Ooh, funnel cake. So good.
Such a good one. Final question. Okay, here we go. How would you rate your karaoke skills on a scale of 1 to Mariah Carey? And I will say, if you would like to rewrite the scale, like if you're not a Mariah Carey, if you want to substitute somebody there, feel free.
I cannot carry a tune in a bucket, so 1.
1. Okay. All right, I think you did pretty well. I feel good about this. I really do. I feel good about this one.
I'm looking forward to my grade.
Yeah. We'll get it out to you soon enough. We'll get old Haiku fired up there on that and get your answer out. All right, so we're closing up here. Anything you've got that you all have coming up, you personally have coming up? Are you doing any talks anywhere? You got any conferences coming up? What's going on in the near future for Kendra Ramirez?
Goodness. I think just, inviting people to see AI. Like we, every single month, our next one coming up in August is a big one. We have Congressman Warren Davidson coming, and that's a really big deal. And we're going to be talking about privacy and AI. So yeah, every single month we have something, fascinating going on and being able to share that. So just invite you all, if you're around, come see us.
Yeah, that was so. This last meeting, this one's really cool actually. So the Kendra and Helen had the group, all of us kind of group up into 5-6 folks and talk about what are the privacy concerns that nobody's talking about, right? With respect to these AI tools and all of that. So we all had our own little conversation and we recorded them. Privacy. We recorded our conversations, which I thought was kind of ironic.
I know.
But then they used those transcripts to kind of compile together the concerns. What are people talking about? What are they concerned about to hand to the congressman to be able to ask to the congressman? I thought that was a really cool idea. And it came out really nicely. I think on the website, you guys have shared your findings and everything. So check it out. Where do they go to learn more about Cincy AI?
CincyAI.org.
CincyAI.org. No dashes, just all one word. CincyAI.org. And that meeting is on there, right? I think that's where I went to.
Yes, it is.
There's a whole write-up about it and stuff. So yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to it myself. What about KR Digital? You guys doing anything going on coming up here soon? Are you writing? Are you speaking at conferences? Anything you guys are getting involved in?
Yeah, majority of the work right now is all with private clients. So I think I've got a handful of public things, but because I donate time to different organizations or nonprofits, just trying to lift as many people and get people reskilled as possible. So one really fun thing I'm doing actually on Monday is an all-day AI session for 70 nonprofits. So I'm donating the full day to help them. And so this will be the 3rd year that this organization has had me in. And it's just super, super fun to be able to help move the needle so they can really focus on their mission.
That's cool. And if people want to learn about KR Digital, where do they go for that?
Yeah, just KendraRamirez.com.
That's perfect. All right. If they wanted to reach out to you, do they go there, or would you rather them reach out on LinkedIn? What's the best way to get in contact with you if somebody wanted to talk to Kendra?
Yeah, so definitely my booking link is on our website, and also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and mention that you heard our podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been fantastic. I use fantastic a lot. Well, I got to come up with
I do too.
a better
I do
word.
too.
That's a go-to word for me. This has been great. I really enjoyed the conversation. As always, we always have a great conversation together. I
Yes.
enjoy
Love it.
hanging out and chatting with you. You always have a great take on AI tooling and the AI world, and I learn something, I think, every time we get together. So thank you. Thank you again for joining us here on the Forward Slash.
Thank you for the invite. I
Yeah.
loved our conversation. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
We had a great time. If you'd like to get in touch with us here, drop us a line at @caliberty.com. See you next time. The Forward Slash podcast is created by Caliberty. The Forward Slash team is director and producer Ryan Wilson, editing by Steve Baradelli, marketing support by Taylor Blessing, and I'm your host, James Carman. Thanks for listening.